Tom, what do you do? What is your role here in this business?
Okay, so I'm Tom Teagle, Managing Director at Teagle Machinery. I've been working with the business for about 15 years. So obviously get the pleasure of insight into sales, which is where I've come from, but also production side of the business.
I'm going to maybe sound a little bit silly saying it this way, but with Teagle being in your surname, and we are at Teagle, I am assuming you are the Teagles that set the business up.
We are, yes. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so the background, my grandfather established the business in 1943. Okay. So that's actually 80 years ago. So big anniversaries for us this year.
Big year, yeah.
He sold his first machine in 1937, so that was a horse-drawn tip cart. And the business grew and grew from there. It was originally a farm here,
yes.
But he had an interest in engineering. So.
And like right back to two-stroke engines.
Yep.
Mowers, cutter bars, early strimmers, if we want to call it, all of that type of invention happened here.
Yeah, he was lucky enough to be around in the post-war era. Big push to increase productivity from the land, and as you've said to me, it's necessity is the mother of invention, and all manner of different machinery produced on site here, all the way through the decades.
Well, fast forward, and obviously a couple of generations later, you're in charge of the day-to-day running, but it's still very much a family business. The machine lines have changed a little bit, and I suppose Bale processing, if that's the correct terminology, seems to be where it's at with Teagle at the minute. Now, I'm not trying to say anything else, but everything was kind of stood up against here insinuates what I'm saying. Am I right? Am I wrong?
You're right. Everything here is a bale processor. It's also bale processor season. So we are right in the thick of it now. So we produce machinery for livestock farmers, and there are other applications: landscaping, amenity, horticulture. There are all kinds of applications, and more so bioenergy, processing for biogas, that kind of thing. So we've got three main threads. First and foremost is the Tomahawk range of bale processors, but we have a strong range of rear discharge manure spreaders. That's the Titan range, which are very important to us, and they go well. And then we have the grassland range of machinery, so that's mowers, toppers, swath conditioners. So we have a product for all of the seasons as we work through the year.
And is that part of the engineering masterpiece in keeping a factory busy all year round?
It helps an awful lot. And so the bale processors are really important to us. We are market leaders in the UK. We have a very strong market share, and we have to work very hard to keep that. When it comes to export, most of our exports are from the Tomahawk range as well. And we're currently running at around 50% of products we ship go on export markets, typically shipping to around 40 countries every year.
Brilliant.
So it's a big part of what we do, and it's a big part of our strategy as a business as well. So
yeah, become very specialised in that field is what you do, and stay there. And that has been very apparent to me today, walking through your factory and looking about it. And you're right in what you're saying. Practically everything I was looking at today, from raw intake, sheet metal, and until finished product out, is all centred around your bale processing. Pretty much now. I did see bits and pieces of other things coming down through, but that's what I could see. And it's obviously it's big business, chopping straw and then moving silage and doing this. But like you know, this whole factory is pretty much, as we speak, dedicated to your Tomahawk range. Within reason, there's one hall specifically dedicated to the C12 that I could see there as well. So talk me through what's going on here. So your product range on the bale processing starts with the drum type.
Yes.
Is that the right starting point?
Chronologically, that's where it all started. So we are 35 years ago, that we bought out the first drum Tomahawk. It is an age away from the machine that we've got in front of us now.
Yeah.
But it's something which is associated with the Teagle brand. But as it's developed on, that now has very specific applications. If you want to take a bale from a complete bale down to a very specific short size, whether it's for TMR, for poultry bedding, for landscaping, then there are very few machines that can do that, and it does it very effectively.
And your Tomahawk range here, the one that stood in front of us now is a 505 FSM. Break those numbers down to me.
Okay.
You get a 4 as well. I'm assuming that's for a smaller bale.
Correct. So the 5 stands for a 5-foot bale.
Yep.
Straightforward as that. So it's got
a 5-foot bale.
It's historical again, but that's an imperial drum. So that's got a 6-foot drum for a 5-foot bale. So that's the 5s. The M, so that has a milling system in it. We do machines which will. It can go down to dust.
Pretty much, yeah.
We can put a 10mm or even 8mm screen into that machine, and that will produce a fantastic material for poultry bedding, cubicle housing, that kind of application. So the FS, that's for feed slide. So this is a product we launched during the summer. Yeah.
Yes.
And this has been very popular. And one of the issues or challenges we face when we are working with this machine on a farm is you need to open and close a gate to load a bale. Okay, on the standard machine. Time is money, and farms getting bigger and bigger. So this is set up now so that you can put it on a tractor. You leave the tractor running, and you just load bale after bale after bale, and you can get 4 tons an hour out of that down to pretty fine chop length. So that's going well. That's a good product.
And you run 2 types of rotors in these type of machines. You run your basically dry only,
yeah,
and then you have one that will work, so you can get one of these machines that'll handle silage as well.
Yes,
pretty much. So you have your 2 types. I watched I'm going to call it the straw type. I seen it in there getting run up on the test rig.
Yeah,
and then your screens that you put in are Hardox.
Yes, that's right.
And then you can order whatever screens you want to get that down to as fine or as long as you put it in.
Yep. So when we bought these out, these were being put on 50, 60 horsepower tractors. We now have to make them so they can go on 150 or 160 horsepower tractors. So it's a different thing. Or electric. At Eurotier last year, so over in Hanover, every other inquiry is for electric drive. It's a big thing, particularly over in the Far East. We're looking to process everything from bamboo through to sugarcane leaves, obviously straw, rice straws, all kinds of materials. A lot of it is around the bioenergy.
Now, you walked me around this yesterday evening, and I could see your face light up talking about this new machine here, the 8200.
Yeah.
This excites you?
Yeah, this is exciting. So this is the project where I have best seen all the parts of the business working best together, all the way through from surveys of existing customers, saying what can we do better, what can we learn from what you're going to say, and what can we develop on, right through to our R&D guys who, it's fine to make things look nice and give it a little bit of shape, but to actually improve the performance, you've got to have some meat in it. You can't just change a bolt size to launch a new product. This is brand new, from the ground up, altogether different performance, and it's got some tricks in it as well. So all the way through, then we've had marketing involved in the look of the whole thing. We've also worked with our production team, our health and safety team, so we can actually make it more safely, more efficiently, and then right through to actually getting it out to the sales team as well. Everything's gelled together for this one.
You've touched on a lot of things there, and it must be a good feeling for you as a managing director to see a product come through the line that you are. What I'm reading between the lines is getting the best of everything that you guys have to offer as a business, from all departments and all aspects coming together into this one product makes you happy. Touching on marketing, I mean, I think personally, and this is a very personal thing, I much prefer the slicker look of even the stickers. I like the white on the red. I think it's good. I think it's sharp. Your grey plastic boxes, this is potato stuff.
Yeah.
Some people say no, but I like the grey down there. I think it suits well. I seen one of these earlier on getting run up for the first time in the test rig. You're right up to 2025 standard with your homologation rules.
Yes.
Am I right in saying that?
That's right. So sometimes things just work. So one of the things that we wanted to achieve was a machine with clean lines and where material wasn't going to rest. So you've got to have loads of slopes. As it turns out, and our engineering director sits on 2 technical committees who write the standards for this, so we are right in the thick of it. One of the rules that will be coming through as best practice in 2025 is that you are not able to climb up onto the machine, so there should be no horizontal surfaces. So actually there are some things that give you 2 benefits. It's safer and it's going to stay cleaner.
This machine here, as you said, is like, there are only a handful of items on this machine that's bought in.
Yeah.
What are they?
Okay, so we make life hard for ourselves. We like to make everything that we can. You'll have seen that on the way round. So we're making our own hydraulic rams. All the sheet steel is fabricated on site here. So there's a hitch, there's a gearbox, there's an axle and wheels. A hydraulic motor, I think we buy the instruction book tube in. There are some components that we can't make here, but we like to source as locally as possible. It's just really good practice for us. There's quite a sophisticated hydraulic valve block that we get in from South Devon, just up the road, and a lovely company just down the road, really sophisticated, producing our Wi-Fi control boxes. So that means you don't have to have a big cable into the tractor. You just have a little 12-volt supply to power the valve bank.
And it's a lovely new box, and I took a look at that earlier on. It's got some nice new features on it, which is something you were talking about yesterday. So you have your 0 to 10 for your speed, you have your play pause function, you have your memory function, because this machine is both for silage and straw.
This one is, yes. Yeah, that's right.
And you can then all your controls there, so that's a big improvement as well.
It's something that no one else is offering. And this is the other reason I really like this. It's innovative. It's something that's new, something that's fresh. And it's not just a gimmick. This actually makes it easier to operate. It was one of the things customers were saying, I'd like any operator to be able to jump in this and just use it. And that's where the synchro, so that's the big bit of where I say there's a trick in here. We have a synchro system which coordinate how the bed chain moves the bale, and also how a bale restraint allows the material to enter the chopping system within the machine. And you control both with one dial, which makes it really easy to adjust and to use and to get the best out of the machine. So, like I say, there's a bit of innovation in there as well, which is another reason for the excitement.
And Walter Shield driveline on these machines here to see. So I mean, again, that's high-end quality driveline. Yeah. And you mean gearbox?
Beamer gearbox on there, so we use quality components. If we don't, it comes back to bite you. That
in essence is your new 8200 then. Obviously, I think behind me, am I right in saying, is one of your 8500s?
Yes.
Chief with the bullhorns sticking out of it. And that's a very popular machine. But again, it's kind of this, only a bit more beefed up.
The 8500 is purely a trailed machine. That's an interesting one. We developed that for the North American market over 10 years ago because they have 5-foot wide bales. The machine had to be wider to fit the bales in.
But you say you developed it for the North American market, but you have a few in the shade for distribution.
Yes.
They're for here.
There's a couple of bits that we love about exporting, and not only do we spread the risk around, because there's always somewhere in the world that's doing well, and it's up and down everywhere all the time, but there's always somewhere that's doing well. And what we really enjoy is that when we're selling abroad, we put our sales team, we put boots on the ground. So we have a guy in North Carolina, a guy in Ireland, France, Germany, and then over selling in Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, North China. But all of these guys are learning about what farmers need, and because every country has different requirements, feeding it back through to us. So similar to this development, we made a machine that suited North America. We had British farmers looking at that and going, right,
I want it.
That's what I need. So we would never have learnt that unless we had boots on the ground. over there. Okay, so once you get beyond your single cross beater machines, we move, because the machines are taller, higher capacity, and you can get 4 quadrants in. The biggest one of these we do. That's the 1010. But we move towards a twin cross beater machine. So as the bales, and they use for clamp silage a lot, just for distributing clamp silage. You have 2 cross beaters in there. As the conveyor moves the material forward, it's a wall of knives and cross beaters, and it's just processing the material, high volume, high output. We sell these over in the States for feedlots quite a lot. There's a lot of UK customers in for the 9500 and the 1010.
The 1010's big now. When I was nosying about earlier on, I could see there were some muck spreaders in at the back ready for distribution. You know, a bit of stock, I'm assuming, built up for fertiliser spinners and sowers, and you have a good variation from very basic, fairly simple priced machine right up to Isobos, your GP, you know, the top of the range, fertiliser sowers, which is based on your Llama show last year, where I first was getting a look around your stand. We were beside each other. You know, you were putting a good emphasis on that product as well.
Yes, yeah. So
that's technology, like.
There's some good technology in there. So on the rear discharge manure spreaders, we're up towards the weigh cells, the Isobus, DPAE, and that's becoming more and more popular as we go on. But as you say, we're building those up now just for pre-season, because when we're in season for winter housing, the last thing we need to be doing is making manure spreaders as well. So we're always thinking the 6 months ahead or so, and just seeing what we think we might need. When it gets to fertiliser spinners, we actually rely on a supplier over in northern Italy. We've got 2 partners, one for our flail mowers, that's Bertie. We've been working with them for about 30 years now. That's the Orange Teagle, yes. But we don't say, oh no, that's a Bertie product. That is a Teagle product. We look after those as if they are our own.
That Bertie side, but you also have your own grassland side, so you have your own topper range, etc. You have a good few of stock down there. Ready to rock and roll, like ride. What are you talking? 4 foot up to 9 foot, or? That's
right. So the bread and butter are in your 8 and 9 foot and your offset, so 8 foot offset ranges. But we do go right down 4, 5, 5'10". Imperial, good fun. So all of those models we manufacture here on site. That's just a good steady product.
Your latest investment, you have a few. I don't know exact figures now, but it's multi-million anyway. Paint line put in here. You have put some effort into that, and it looks, feels, and even the finished product, nothing short of amazing, in my opinion. What possessed that, and what is that process? Because it's a double powder coat process and a double baking process with a very nicely set up shot blasting machine.
Yeah. There
or thereabouts.
That's a good starter on it. I think what possessed us to do it, we're pretty ambitious. So we're in the 3rd generation of the business. We probably make some rash decisions that if we were owned by a bigger company, we might not go with. But the gut feel was that you look at tractors, you look at the quality, you look at handlers, and you don't want to put a rubbish old bit of machinery that's not looking great on the back of it. It really needs to be up to that level of that standard. So if we don't need it this year, we're going to need it in 5 years and 10 years. We would take a longer term view on investments, and it felt like that was the right thing we needed to do. And what we wanted to do was try and automate as much of the process as possible. So we have the components, the sizes are sensed automatically, and then we have reciprocating powder coat guns, which you have an electrostatic charge on the powder, the parts are earthed, and they will cover some components 100%, other components which maybe have folds or they're a little bit difficult to access, maybe 90%. So you have one person just retouching any parts that the automation can't get.
Tom, thank you very much for showing us around. It's been an absolute pleasure, and the mind boggles because we travel around everywhere, and you know, you're like to think this is here, this far down in the UK, and you're one of the biggest employers in the local area.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
fair play to you. You're doing a great job, and it's good to see everybody floating about. Well, I would have said happy out.
Yeah.
Sure,
Yeah.
why wouldn't it be? So, till we meet again.
Thank you to you and your team
Yeah.
for coming down
Thank
to
you.
see us. It's been a real pleasure.
Brilliant. Cheers, boss. Thank you.